So I've recently finished watching this anime that is one of the anime I got from Sentai Filmworks. Is one of the ones I got from my summer haul from it, and that anime is Doreiku. Now, when it comes to this anime, it has a very interesting premise, especially like what it's about and like the ideas it introduced and like even the concept that's in this anime is pretty interesting and unique compared to a lot of other anime, I would say. And the main thing about this anime is they have these retainers called SCM. And with this retainer, what they do is whenever somebody else has this retainer, you put it in your mouth. You both will have the retainers, and of course you put it in your mouth and you play a game. And whoever loses this game becomes your slave now. So yeah, you can see like where this is going. And plus, if you look at the Blu-ray cover, look at this. You can tell like, oh, maybe something might happen here, because like look how, you know, wild this cover kind of looks, because you see the girl's wearing a certain something. I'll tell you, it never gets as wild as that cover. That cover can be very deceiving, I'll say that. But all in all, pretty interesting anime, especially with some of the stuff they do with the retainers, because trust me, they play little simple games like rock paper scissors. Like sometimes people lose on purpose, and like a lot of people sometimes get a whole bunch of slaves and all this other stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that's wrapped into this anime, and it's only 12 episodes. Seems, and like they do wrap it up pretty interesting, even though I feel like in the later part they kind of add way too much stuff, because like it goes from like, oh, this is the bad guy, no, this is the bad guy type of thing. They try to, but I mean at the same time, every single character that's in this anime is connected, which is crazy. They're all connected through like one way, and that's the nightlife. Every single character in here is connected to like this nightlife, like the city, like you know, like at nighttime there's like this one street that they all have basically been around, like they have somebody that associates there. There's a lot of characters that are connected through like one other character. So like I said, there's a lot of connections, and they all just have that same like nightlife type of area, street life, the one like street that they live on. This I know I can't remember exactly what you call that type of like area. Just know, I guess you would have like sex workers there too. I guess you'd say stuff like that. There's like this whole connection there, which is kind of interesting. But the main character, her name is Aya, and she's very interesting because like she can basically read stuff about different people without like even seeing them. So like the first time she meets this guy named Yuga, who he's the one that even gets Aya in this whole mess, and he's a character we're talking about in a little bit. But first time they meet, there's this couple that literally are over there, and they literally play a game. He's like, yo, can you tell me like how long this couple's been together or anything like this? And she literally says like, oh, they literally just met. And Yuga's like, oh, how did you know that? Because she's like, I can tell how uncomfortable the girl looks. So she can basically look and pick up stuff like very easily, and she can tell like hints and stuff about that about people. But Aya's a very interesting main character, because like I like her because like when she finally gets into this SCM game and she starts using it, oh boy, does she have plans. Like almost every plan she does work out, because like she's very good at like deceiving people and, you know, poker face type of thing, coming up with ways to beat people, because she has a very interesting way where they have like 10 million yen, and it's like she's challenging this one guy that runs like, you know, we'll just say like a sex worker type of place, we'll say that he runs one of those, and she's literally like, yo, whoever can collect the most money in like an hour wins. And like she has one of her friends come in there like with 10 million yen acting like a land shark or whatever. The dude accepts him because like he has all of his crew like basically like, yo, we're gonna take you down and steal this money. So then what happens is she ends up putting like a bomb inside, it was like a time bomb inside like the bag, and like as soon as it got to like the end of like when they're supposed to meet up, the money just literally burned away. So yeah, like I said, she thinks ahead, big brains that time. So I mean, I like her for the most part. There is one time when like her planning doesn't work out because she gets outsmarted by a certain character. We're getting into him in a little bit. Now when it comes to Yuga, now this man, he literally had a business that he was doing with his friend. This dude, that was his friend, and like just know his friend has like this big like yellow hair, and like they had a business, and instead this man gets obsessed with like SCM, and he wants to like be like, yo, I want to try this out, and he gets very obsessed with it. So like he ends up taking the money from like the business that they were supposed to start, gives it to Aya as insurance, and this man comes very obsessed with it. He's eventually gonna get like a few slaves, and then eventually gets turned into a slave himself, because man wanted to like think way too big and stuff like that. But like he does start to become crazy, but then at the same time, once like Aya like sees it like, oh, you're a slave, and she gets him back as his slave, as her own slave, then eventually like he's like, oh yeah, I see the mistakes I made type of shit. But yeah, it's very out of there type of anime, because you would think they would use the slave thing as, you know, going crazy and doing other stuff. There's one character that kind of does that, but majority of them don't do stuff like that. So you have another guy that's like, because like each person, like you have masters and slaves, And like there's multiple different people that are masters, and like some of the ones that are like known as like having the most slaves are like the best people or whatever, being the best like master or whatever. So you have another guy, his name is Ryu, and like he's literally a little boy, and the reason why he got into this game is because he's trying to get his mom back from this one guy that runs, like the sex worker shop. That I don't, he runs one of those, and that's where his mom is basically at, because his mom has to work off the debt that she owes. And that's why he's there, and he basically starts getting different people and all that to join him. The first person he actually gets is this girl named Julia, and this girl named Julia was actually dating this guy named Saya, and like he was another guy that gets caught into this SEM game, and then like Julia eventually gets caught into it too, and then but like she actually like basically like takes care of Ryu, because Ryu, he's like a little kid, he's probably like 10, 12, somewhere around there, and she basically looks at him like she's a big sister figure type of thing, and because she actually like really likes this man, like actually loves him like as a big sister type of figure, and like it's kind of like goes beyond like the actual like retainer that they put into their mouth. So there's her too, but the two, I guess, antagonist of this is you have this guy that he was a student under this other person that was like making that actually made the SCM, and like the dude that originally made this, like they were basically using it for like dogs and like other pets that like when you talk to the pet they're like obey you and stuff like that. But nah, but this guy, he ended up taking all the information, and he's like, yo, I need to use this on humans that we can make people slaves and stuff like that, and masters, all that. So he's the one that made it, and then like we find out about him is he has like basically like a master one that basically can like make anybody a slave as long as they also lose, but like other masters they can't be. So we have him come into play, and he's gonna start snatching away different people until this one guy that literally was shown like in the first episode, he happens to come around again, and he ends up taking everybody and making them a slave, which is kind of wild. He ends up having like 18 people as a slave at the end of towards the end of the anime, and like he ends up like shooting them with airsoft guns and other type of stuff because like he's trying to have fun and all this other mess. But yeah, that's what I was saying. Like towards the end, like they try to give us these two bads when it was mainly should have just been the guy that stole the research information instead of just like this other guy that was like from the beginning. But I mean at the same time, at least they connected him into the story, because he was really getting no play at all until like we finally got to see him at the very end. But I mean he eventually got what he got at the very end. And there's also another interesting character. His name is Zero. And when he starts using this SEM, it seems like something's wrong, because like he doesn't like at first like listen to like Ryu when like he makes him like basically one of his like slaves and all that, but doesn't listen to him. And the reason why we find out that he doesn't listen to him is because he basically has a split personality right now, because somehow the SCM has affected him in some type of way, and it's made it that his mother that has passed away is literally can control his body now. It's kind of wild, that part, because they just did that. That was kind of, I was like, how exactly does that work? So he brought back his mother that's been dead for years type of thing. That's that character. And then another interesting character is, so Aya has a dog that basically been gone for months, and like we basically find out where this dog has been. So the dog the dog basically like ran away because he saw like another dog, and he fell in love and eventually gets lost. And then when he gets picked up by the researcher that was making the SCM. And then eventually he's going to see the dude that steals the research. And then eventually he's going to put like a SCM inside his mouth, because like he's a dog that has that inside his mouth. So the dog is actually in this game too. And it's pretty funny because there is like one guy that actually does a game with the dog, because like the dog is trying to save this woman that fed him some chicken. Yeah, like I said, this anime is it's out there. Like I said, it's a decent anime. I'm not going to say like it's the best thing ever, but it's pretty decent. Like I said, I like some of the stuff like they're doing. Like it goes into some of these like strategy type of like, games that like risk their lives on type of stuff. Because I mean, you lose a game and you're going to get turned into a slave. Like I said, towards the end of the anime, there were only two people that never lost, and that was Aya and Ryu. And eventually Aya's going to win. Because the reason why Aya even gets into this is because she wants to free everybody from being these slaves and like release them, because like she realized like how much like cause and pain, some of the causes that are like driving people either crazy, ruining their lives, because a lot of people's lives are getting ruined for like because they have this been in this game, this retainer. And like also the other thing about the retainer is you can't have it outside your mouth for a certain amount of time, or you start to become like crazy, because like the withdrawals and stuff like that. So there's that too, like I said. But all in all, I enjoyed it for the most part. But it was just like, I was like, damn, I was like, y'all be playing some like easy games y'all be losing on, because there's one like this girl named Maria. Like this dude comes to her with like a BB gun, and is like, yo, let's play a game right now. And he's like, you gotta run away, and I only have one bullet left, because he had a slingshot. My bad, he had a slingshot. And her big, and like she's fat, but like her big ass was running so damn slow, and this man just hit her ass so easily. And also, like, when it comes to the games, you can basically use violence on them and force people to play these games. Because there's one dude who has like a punch out with this girl, because like he already punched and beat her, and he's like, say yes to say a punch out, and he's literally choking her, and he chokes her into like basically doing this game that he can become her slave. Like, there's like all these like other things about it, so it's not really traditional games. It's basically like, yeah, you can beat you. It basically, if you can beat this person up, you can basically win at times. So, there's some people that play games like that, use brute strength and stuff like that. But like I said, Io was the smartest one out of everyone here, and Ryu, he was another smart one. And then we have a doctor that's super crazy over the guy that has like yellow hair. Like, she's like super crazy. She calls herself a crazy person, because trust me, she's crazy for this man, because this man saved her one time when like a whole bunch of guys were harassing her, and she fell in love with him and has been looking for him since. But yeah, if you've seen this anime, let me know how you feel about it. If you've not seen it, you should check it out. Like I said, it's not that bad of an anime. Like I said, this cover is very deceiving, because what they show right here is like only a little section of like the anime, and like they really don't have stuff like this. It's more of a, I guess it's more of just like a thing they're showing, since they're slaves, and they're showing like all these different stuff. Because like during like, you know, like the little like, you know, like transition that happens in some anime, like during that they show somebody like what they regularly look like, and then like another one of like them in bondage and other type of stuff like that, because I guess they're trying to say like they're tied down since they're slaves or whatever. So I guess that's what that is, I guess, whatever. But all in all, pretty decent anime. I enjoyed it for the most part. There's some wild stuff at times. Like I said, the dog is hilarious, because we hear the dog's thoughts too, because the dog like literally has his own thoughts and stuff. There's like the scene when he leaves is hilarious. Like the reason why he leaves and what he says is hilarious though. But Aya's a pretty dope character though, in my opinion though. But let me know how you feel about this anime. Watch it if you've not seen it. But if you're new, why not subscribe if you enjoyed the video? Why not like? If you didn't, you could dislike. Subscribe if you really enjoyed. But yeah, this is a pretty decent anime. I'm happy I picked this up. I thought this was going to be way more wilder than it was, especially because that cover made it look like it was going to be something crazy, because I thought it was about to be some crazy ass shit. But turns out it wasn't that bad. But still, retainers that basically turn you into slaves if you lose a game is still kind of wild though. At least it didn't go, I mean, there is one extreme scene that I didn't mention that happens at the beginning of the anime, but that's probably the most extreme thing. We'll say it's a SA scene. I'll just say that happens in there, and it's very early on. That's probably the wildest thing / most disturbing thing that happens in this anime for the most part though. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!